What if one of the prophets mentioned in the Bible once wrote a book that told the story of Israel's divided kingdom in greater detail than the scriptures we read today? What if that book contained reflections, warnings, and historical insights that expanded upon the biblical narrative, or perhaps even presented events from a slightly different perspective? The Bible itself hints at such a possibility through a mysterious text known as the Book of Shemaiah the prophet. Though the book has vanished from history, Scripture acknowledges that it once existed. Today, we explore the mystery of Shemaiah's lost writings, what they may have contained, and how they might have compared with the biblical record that ultimately survived. Before beginning this exploration, it is important to approach the topic with clarity and respect. Studying lost texts does not challenge the authority of Scripture. Instead, it helps us understand the historical environment in which the Bible was written. Ancient historians and prophets often produced multiple records describing the same events, yet only some of those writings were preserved and passed down through generations. The Bible itself openly acknowledges that other sources once existed. These references show us that the biblical narrative emerged from a broader world of historical documentation. One of those references appears in 2 Chronicles 12:15, where the chronicler writes that the acts of King Rehoboam were recorded in the writings of Shemaiah the prophet and Iddo the seer. This brief statement tells us something remarkable. Shemaiah was not only a prophet delivering messages from God, but also a recorder of history. His writings once served as a recognized source for understanding the events of Judah during a critical moment in its development. To appreciate the potential significance of Shemaiah's lost book, we must first understand the world in which he lived. Shemaiah appeared during the early years of the divided kingdom of Israel. After the death of King Solomon, the united monarchy fractured. 10 tribes broke away to form the northern kingdom of Israel under Jeroboam, while the southern tribes remained loyal to Solomon's son Rehoboam in the kingdom of Judah. This division was more than a political split. It represented a profound crisis of identity for the nation that had once been united under David and Solomon. The tension between these kingdoms threatened to erupt into civil war almost immediately. According to the biblical account in 1 Kings 12, Rehoboam gathered an army of 180,000 soldiers with the intention of forcing the northern tribes back under his control. At that moment, Shemaiah the prophet delivered a message that changed the course of history. He told the king that the division of the kingdom was part of God's plan, and that the people were not to fight against their own brothers. Remarkably, the king obeyed the message and disbanded his army. This moment alone suggests that Shemaiah played an important role in shaping the early history of the divided kingdoms. Yet the biblical narrative recounts this event in only a few verses. If Shemaiah recorded his own account of these events, his writings may have included details and reflections that were later condensed or summarized in the biblical text. For example, Shemaiah may have written about the political atmosphere in Jerusalem during the crisis. The sudden collapse of national unity must have produced fear, confusion, and intense debate among the people. A prophetic historian like Shemaiah could have captured these emotions and discussions in ways that later summaries could not fully preserve. Another moment recorded in Scripture hints at Shemaiah's continuing influence. In 2 Chronicles 12, the kingdom of Judah faced invasion from Pharaoh Shishak of Egypt. The biblical text explains that the people had abandoned their covenant with God, and Shemaiah delivered a prophetic message explaining that their troubles were the result of their own actions. When the leaders of Judah humbled themselves, the invasion did not destroy Jerusalem entirely, though the kingdom suffered losses. If Shemaiah wrote a detailed account of these events, his record may have expanded upon the reasons behind Judah's spiritual decline. He may have described how religious practices changed after the kingdom divided, or how the political pressures of the time influenced the decisions of the king and his advisors. This leads us to an important possibility. Shemaiah's writings may not have contradicted the Bible, but instead expanded upon it, providing additional historical background and prophetic interpretation. Ancient historians often wrote accounts that complemented one another, emphasizing different aspects of the same events. However, there is also the possibility that Shemaiah's record contained perspectives that differed in tone or emphasis from the later biblical narrative.
Prophets were individuals living through complex historical circumstances. Their writings could include personal reflections, debates with leaders, or descriptions of events as they unfolded in real time. For example, Shemaiah may have described the early reign of Rehoboam in greater detail, perhaps portraying the king's struggles with leadership more vividly than the concise biblical account. He might have recorded conversations within the royal court, disagreements among advisors, or the reactions of ordinary citizens to the sudden division of the kingdom. Such details would not necessarily contradict Scripture, but could reveal a more nuanced view of the political and spiritual tensions of the time. Another area where Shemaiah's book might have expanded the story involves the religious life of Judah. The Bible tells us that the kingdom experienced periods of spiritual decline during Rehoboam's reign. A prophetic record written by Shemaiah may have documented how these changes unfolded in daily life, how worship practices evolved, how religious leaders responded, and how the people struggled to remain faithful amid political upheaval. Shemaiah may also have recorded prophetic warnings that were not preserved in the biblical canon. Prophets often delivered many messages throughout their lifetimes, yet only some of those teachings were later included in Scripture. Others circulated within the community for a time before eventually disappearing. So why was the book of Shemaiah the prophet not preserved alongside the books of the Bible? One explanation lies in the fragile nature of ancient manuscripts. Texts were written on materials such as papyrus or parchment that required constant copying to survive. If a document was not regularly reproduced by scribes, it could vanish within a few generations. The history of Judah included many events that could have disrupted the preservation of records: wars, invasions, and eventually the Babylonian exile. During these crises, scribes focused their efforts on preserving the most essential sacred writings. Other documents, though valuable, may not have been copied frequently enough to survive. Another possibility is that Shemaiah's writings were used as a source for later biblical authors. The chronicler who wrote the books of Chronicles may have drawn upon Shemaiah's record while composing his narrative. If this occurred, portions of Shemaiah's historical account may still be reflected in the biblical text, even though the original document no longer exists. This process was common in the ancient world. Historians often compiled earlier records into new works, preserving key events while allowing the original sources to fade from memory. In this sense, the book of Shemaiah the prophet may not be entirely lost. Its influence may remain embedded within the biblical narrative that survived. The mystery of Shemaiah's writings reminds us that the Bible emerged from a rich historical environment filled with prophets, scribes, and historians who documented the events of their time. While not every document survived the centuries, the texts that remain continue to guide faith and understanding for millions of people. The lost book of Shemaiah also invites humility. It reminds us that history is larger than the records we possess. Many voices from the ancient world have been lost, yet their influence can still be felt through the fragments and references that remain. Shemaiah the prophet played a role in guiding a nation through one of its most difficult transitions. Even though the book bearing his name has vanished, his story continues to echo through the pages of Scripture. And perhaps somewhere in the ruins of the ancient world, fragments of forgotten writings still wait to be discovered. Reminders that the past holds many secrets yet to be uncovered. If you enjoy exploring biblical history, ancient mysteries, and the hidden stories behind Scripture, consider supporting this channel. Subscribe, and share these videos so more people can discover the fascinating world of ancient history and the mysteries that still surround it. Because history remembers what survived, but countless stories were lost to time. And together, we continue the search for the voices that history almost forgot.